Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Unscripted. Today is March 18th, and we have made it. Brackets are here. I've got my bracket in my hand. I don't know about you, Johnny. I'm a paper bracket guy. I obviously fill out one on ESPN and CBS Sports for all my different groups, but I gotta have the paper in hand. I gotta have my highlighter letting me know what my games are right. I just love having the physical copy pinned onto my wall. But yeah, March is here, and the selection show is last night. Definitely an interesting one. We've got some thoughts to talk that we're going to talk about regarding the whole tournament, but obviously this is a Michigan State podcast. So let's focus in on Michigan State. So the 9 seed in the West region is where the Spartans find themselves, and they will be taking on, it'll be the Battle of MSU. 8 seed Mississippi State, 9 seed Michigan State. Definitely an interesting matchup. Obviously, the eye catches with the MSU versus MSU, but Johnny, I'll go into you for some more basketball analysis. What do you see about Mississippi State? What are you thinking going into this game? Um, it'll be the first game of the round of 64. The game is at 12:15 on Thursday. Michigan State 1.5 point favorites as of this moment. I think they're one of three teams that are seated lower that are favorites going into the round of 64. So yeah, Johnny, what are your thoughts and what are you looking for in this one?
Well, just in terms of Selection Sunday, that was a little stressful there. Obviously, we didn't need to, considering being a 9 seed and not really on the bubble as much as we might have thought, even though there was a lot of talk about that. But talking about the game, Mississippi State was not a huge fan of the draw. Very talented team. Just looking at it, they got a good big inside who we always don't always love to see that. A great freshman guard in Josh Hubbard, who will be an exciting matchup between him and Tyson. But just a well-rounded team. Coach Chris Jans, second-year guy there, had a long spell at New Mexico State and made some upsets in the tourney, so he's got that experience. But I'm really excited for this game. Obviously, the first game of the Thursday, really when it kicks off, and all eyes will be on the MSUs, and it's going to be a really fun one, I think.
Yeah, I have to point out this. I have a gripe with the NCAA tournament committee. Don't put Michigan State in the first game. I don't want all the national people to have to be talking on Twitter if Michigan State loses or it goes wrong. I don't want everyone to see that. I'd rather be Friday afternoon, Friday evening, but that's just me. Um, but yeah, I wrote some stuff down about Josh Hubbard and Tolu Smith. Definitely a nice 1-2 punch for Mississippi State. They're ranked 30th in the Ken Palm ratings, 31 in the net rankings. So yeah, I mean, they're 20th in Ken Palm defensive efficiency. I wrote down they're a strong defensive team, and they're very, very good at keeping running teams off the 3-point line. And so I think a big key for Michigan State is obviously they need to get off to a good start. But they're gonna have to find ways to score the basketball. They're gonna have to score the basketball in different ways. Um, obviously I talked about the 3-point shooting that Mississippi State allows, and Michigan State. It's been interesting throughout the year, and they've had to do a little bit of that, finding different ways to score the basketball. So I definitely think that they can do it, but excuse me, it's not going to be easy. And then yeah, the big man play. Tolu Smith averages 15 and 8 for Mississippi State, and he's at 6'11". Um, he's just not a good matchup for the Spartans. So the big men are going to have to come out ready to play, and Izzo's going to have to come up with a plan. I loved seeing what they were doing in the Big Ten tournament with the doubles, with the guards coming down that we talked about, instead of necessarily having Malik rotate over, leaving a guy open on the other, for an offensive rebounder, what have you. But yeah, I think, it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a very good game, I think. And yeah, I mean, I also wrote down some results, some notable results from Mississippi State this season. So they played two Big Ten teams in non-conference play. They beat Northwestern 66 to 57 back in November. Obviously Tiberi was still in play, but the Wildcats definitely a different team back then than they are now. And then they beat Rutgers by 10 in December. So, and that game was in New Jersey. I think it was at a neutral site, but On ESPN, it said it was in New Jersey, although it didn't have Rutgers as the home team, so that's what I was a little confused about. But yeah, two Big Ten wins. They beat Tennessee twice. They beat them once in the regular season, once in the SEC tournament. And yeah, and then they lost to Auburn in the SEC tournament semifinal. The SEC tournament was a little crazy, but yeah, it's definitely a fun matchup and one that I'm looking forward to for sure.
Yeah, and you just touched on it. Obviously a huge win for them in their quarterfinal, the SEC beating Tennessee, and then obviously losing to Auburn the next day. Yeah, they're fun. Hubbard, again, like we said, he shoots a lot. I was just looking at his numbers, and I think he averages 8 3-point attempts a game. So he is not afraid to sling it. But then overall, they're a kind of a weaker 3-point shooting team, just under 33%. That was what I was noticing. So like when you were bringing up the double, I would think that would be something that is definitely part of the game plan. Probably not off Hubbard, but definitely the other guys. Make them shoot it because watching the film, the two players for me that kind of I think stood out as more of X factors were let me pull it up. Was Jeffries and Matthews. Both 6'7", long, athletic, right? One will obviously be with Malik Hall, probably Jeffries, where Cameron Matthews is more of a wing. That was the one matchup I guess it's interesting, right? If Akins plays up, or sometimes you want a bigger body, you put a Hogard on him. But those were kind of the two guys I think can be kind of the difference makers for them, make it or break it type thing. So that's just what I was looking out for.
Yeah, and in terms of Michigan State, I think it's pretty clear who the X factors are for us. Obviously, the two that I look at the most in terms of X factors, game changers, guys that are honestly going to decide a big majority of the result are Hogard and Akins. Walker has had the groin injury lingering in the second half of the season, but we know what Tyson's going to do, especially in the big moments. And Malik Hall has become much more of a consistent staple for MSU throughout the second half of the season. So I think it's going to come down to a lot of, can Hogard get good looks at the rim? And the ones that he gets, can he convert and finish? And Aiken's going to have to shoot well. I thought Aikens was awesome last year in March. Big reason why they beat Marquette. Big reason why they, came back and gave K-State the fight that they did in overtime. But I think it's definitely going to come down to those two Spartans, and their play on Thursday is probably going to decide, I think, if the Spartans move on or not.
Yeah, and with AJ, no, we've talked about him all year, right, Brigham? Which AJ you're going to get, and I do think he's the guy that's going to show up on Thursday with the energy now. Shot making, that's all a different story, and that's where Akins really comes into play, right? Is those they've definitely been on him, not in a bad way, just to tell him to keep shooting because that's what he needs to do, and we keep saying it that he's our spot up shooter, and you need that in March, and if he's not going to have the confidence to step into it every time uh, it kind of limits our offense and ability to really spread the floor with, if he's not looking to shoot the three. So, like you said, those are two definitely our X factors, and just really hoping that they bring it on Thursday.
Yeah. Um, I do you have anything else for the for game preview for this first
Uh,
round matchup?
I mean, we've covered them. They're a lot. I mean, I think they're very similar to us, or honestly, um, they're not going to have too much of a deep bench. And their main guys are going to play 30 plus minutes just like us. So again, I really think it's going to be a battle at 12:15 on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So definitely looking forward to that. And then I thought we could get to a little bit of some talk on the just general talk about the rest of the tournament. Um, I don't know if you filled out a bracket yet
Well, yeah,
in the process.
it's done. It's just will it be complete?
Yeah, mine's
Always gonna
mine's mine's an ongoing process
yeah.
always. But can I ask who you have in the final four right now?
Well, I mean, do you have us in our final four? I have us in our final four. I do.
Do I have
Um,
Michigan State in the
yeah,
final
do you?
four? Of course
Yeah.
not. Of course I
Why
don't. I have
not?
them losing in the second round. I
I
don't
don't.
have any belief in this team anymore. They've ripped my heart out plenty of times throughout the
You
season.
gotta have
Now,
some
am I
belief.
rooting for them? Of course. Of course. Do I expect it? God, no, I don't. Um, but yeah, I'll tell you mine right now, like looking at it. I haven't filled it out. I've been looking at a lot of analytics today and some different numbers. UConn I'll have in my final four, that's for sure. Um, I would love to see a North Carolina Arizona matchup. the Caleb Love Bowl. And, I think if that matchup were to happen in the Elite Eight, I don't see a world in which Caleb Love doesn't go for like 30 and Arizona wins. So I like Arizona coming out of the West. Uh Out of the South, I love Kentucky. They're a lot of fun to watch. Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham are two awesome freshmen. We've touched on them a couple times. Um, but yeah, Houston is a tough matchup for almost anyone. Their guards are so good with Shed and Cryer, and they're defensively so sound. I don't know. This is going to be chalky, but I think I'm going to have Houston as well, and not Purdue. Not Purdue. We can talk about this for a second. The Big Ten officiating it's gotten so bad. Like
Yeah.
it's like national media on Twitter, like people that don't follow the Big Ten just tweeting all weekend, like how the hell do you Big Ten fans how have you watched Purdue play for the last 3 years, 4 years with Zach Edey and the way they officiate him? I don't know. I'm just glad that everyone, SEC fans, Big East fans, whoever else, Big 12 fans understand where Big Ten fans that aren't Purdue fans are coming from with the officiating on this guy. But shout out to the Badgers for beating Purdue. Purdue won't be on my Final Four. I like Creighton. I've liked Creighton throughout the whole season. Yeah, so shoot, 1-1-2-3. That's pretty chalky, but that's off the top of my head. That's subject to change. But
Yeah, I got three of the same four.
okay, let's hear it.
Um, I'm UConn, definitely. I'm Kentucky and Creighton also.
Okay,
I just the offense firepower for Kentucky. And it's the same as Creighton for me. I know they always say defense. Everyone talks about defense, but I don't know. More fun to root for the offense. So that's what I got right now. Again, will I have Michigan State in the Final Four right now? Yes. Will it be like that before Thursday? Probably not.
we'll see.
We'll see. But if I do change it, I think it'll end up being Baylor for me. So and that's not too bad. It'll be three threes and a one. That's what mine's looking like right now.
Okay, so I'm just love the bracket thoughts. I love talking March Madness, but we got to talk about the seedings. We've got to talk about some of these seed lines. Um, the biggest ones for me that stood out. I mean, I'll start right here. Michigan State has no business being a 9 seed. No business. I I, I was shocked. Like kind of like you said when we were stressing out. Yesterday was pretty stressful. The
Yeah.
biggest part was because um Michigan, the West was the last region to come out, be named, and the two first four games were already out. So it kind of felt like over that commercial break, it was like, oh, Michigan State's probably a 10 or out. They're either the 10 in this region or they're out. It turns out we're the 9. I mean, I don't know. I don't see it, but I
Yeah.
appreciate the respect. Um, A&M I thought was also too high as a 9 seed. I know they had 7 quad 1 wins, but I feel like their resume was just not over. They have some bad losses as well, just not great. Nevada, the Mountain West really got disrespected. I think it was good that they got 6 teams in, and that's obviously a big accomplishment for that conference. But I just feel like they kind of got disrespected in terms of the seeding. And then one of my other big gripes was the Big East. I don't understand how you can have three of the top 10 overall seeds in UConn, Marquette, and Creighton, and those are the only 3 teams in. I have a big, big problem with all three of Seton Hall, St. John's, and Providence being left out. Mostly Seton Hall. I mean, Rick Pitino is out on Twitter like today tweeting about how Seton Hall is getting like how they should have been in. Like I if Rick Pitino is saying that, then I'm gonna say that a team like one of the rivals of St. John's, if he thinks they should be in, I'm with him. I think St. John's had a good argument for being in. Um, but yeah, the Big East disrespect was I didn't love that. I just really didn't love that. Also, one more. Duquesne, they obviously just had VCU as an 11, and when Duquesne won, we're like, oh, they'll be the 11. They're like 90th in Ken Palm, and the other 11s are all in the top 50. I don't know. I think they should be lower. Again, I'm not on the tournament committee. At the end of the day, I'm really just happy that Michigan State's streak continued. But, you know, thought I have the platform. We have the platform, so I thought I'd, air out my thoughts.
Yeah, and I think that's just something that a lot of people kind of have that issue with the committee is that they have it set basically before even Saturday, basically. Like I think they said, at Saturday morning or whatever it was, they already had 35 of their 36 at large locked in basically. So there wasn't really much other than the bid stealers that all you do is move them off. There really wasn't much discussion. And then of course the Duquesne thing, that's just, I mean,
It's
lazy, but
lazy.
yeah,
It's
but
lazy. I
it's what
like
it is.
it,
I mean,
I
it's
don't
what
know
they
if
did.
I don't know that that's what they did, but
Seems like it.
that's kind of the narrative going on right now is that, that's just what it seems like. And again, no disrespect to Duquesne. Now that I say that, all the teams I probably said are probably going to go win a game or two, but yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, and then just looking around, you touched on it, Mountain West. I mean, six bids was great to see. Um, Obviously, two of them are in the first four. I thought it definitely interesting seeing New Mexico down the 11 line, basically saying that if they didn't win their conference, they weren't going to be in, which I think a lot of people were kind of shocked at. And now you see, betting lines, the 11 seed, they're the open up with a 2.5 point favorite over Clemson. So that kind of shows you what the books think. Um, and yeah, I mean, you touched on it. It's tough with these seed. Let me get it. The seed lines are tough, but MSU wasn't just the nine seed. They were the top of the
Yeah,
nine seeds. So like that's off the bubble ish. Like
that's not really on the bubble. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, so it is what it is. I mean, FAU as an eight was probably a little I,
Crazy.
I
I can't
mean,
even believe I didn't touch on them. They have no business being an eight.
yeah,
No
again,
business.
I
They've
think it
got
comes down to the conference tournament again. It was what Saturday, right? Saturday night they lose to a Temple team who was five
got
and
accused of
12,
point shaving 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
but then probably didn't even hurt them that they lost to a team that, was 5 and 12 in a league that's going to have two bids. So only two bids because FAU lost,
Yeah.
right?
They
So
would have only had one if FAU won the tournament.
so that's kind of, that's something I looked at, but overall, I think they got most of the teams right. Again, I think one of Seton Hall or St. John's had to be in there. Um, Maybe Virginia. I know that everyone wasn't really happy to see Virginia as they are not the most offensive team. I
Not
know
very fun.
a lot of people didn't like seeing us, which, well, those people just don't like MSU.
Yeah.
But I get it. The metrics love us, so people don't love that as much. But overall, you can't complain too much. Again, it's not, a science. It's not, it can't, nothing can be perfect. So, but I'm just really looking forward again. This tournament kicked off, and of course, us leading it off. There's nothing better, right? Just start our day.
Yeah. My entire first weekend of March is going to be decided in the first 2 hours. That's awesome. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I don't, I definitely sound like I'm complaining because I am a little bit. Uh, but yeah, no, you're right. At the end of the day, there is no exact science, and obviously, I'm very, very excited for March. There's very few things in this world I love as much as I love this tournament. Um, and yeah, it's exciting, it's fun, it's all the things. It's just amazing. It's March. I don't know how else to describe it. It's March. There's only one word you can use to describe it, and that's the word itself, that it is March. It's craziness, madness, and yeah, it's just the best. It's the best. I love it. I love it so much.
Exactly, March. I mean, we'll be looking forward to whatever it is, 72 hours basically, right? From Thursday at 12 o'clock, right, till Sunday night, whenever it ends, right? That's just nonstop college basketball, which is what we've looked forward to all year. So I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely a lot to be looking forward to. Some really awesome first round matchups, and definitely some things that we can look forward to in the bracket with some, games down the line that you can see in your bracket and hope that will happen or whatever. But yeah, I that's all I got. I don't know. You sounds like you're all good. So we'll wrap it up there for today. We'll definitely be back for a recap of the Michigan State Mississippi State game Thursday at noon. So get ready, get strapped in, Spartan fans, college basketball fans, get ready to go because March is here. Thanks for listening. Have a